Top 5 liquid cooling parts that increase your computer speed. Liquid cooling is the solution to all your overheating and slow computer issues. You need to know which liquid cooling parts that you need to make your PC faster than ever before. Here is the top 5 parts that can make the biggest impact on increasing computer speed. Quick overview of liquid cooling parts. 1. Liquid cooling pump. Your liquid cooling pump is one of the most essential liquid cooling parts. The liquid inside the liquid cooling loop can only move around once it has been moved by a liquid cooling pump. This means that without liquid pumps, your liquid will just sit there and turn into vapor. Some common liquid cooling pumps you may want to consider are manufactured by EC Water Block. 2. CPU liquid coolers. CPU liquid coolers keep heat away from your processor and increase the overall speed of your computer. Instead of keeping your heatsink in place, liquid coolers bubble liquid around your processor to keep your temperature down. Some liquid coolers can be attached with heat sinks, which makes liquid cooling even more efficient. 3. Liquid cooling tubing. Liquid cooling tubing is a flexible liquid tube that cools down liquid as it moves from one part of the liquid cooling loop to another. The liquid inside the hardline will then evaporate into water vapor before entering another liquid cooling part in the liquid cooling loop, such as a CPU liquid cooler or a pump. If you are looking for an affordable and easy way to set up a liquid cooling system on your computer, hardline tubing may be right for you. You can buy different sizes of tubing depending on how many components you plan on hooking up with your system. Liquid cooling tubing speeds up your computer by using liquid as a cooling agent instead of air. Air is not a very efficient cooling liquid due to the fact that it transfers heat from one place to another by rising and then falling down. This is why liquid cooling systems incorporate liquid into their liquid loop. Liquid sucks up heat much more efficiently than air does while in its liquid form. Liquid tubing can be used for many different liquid cooling components, including ones that come pre-installed on liquid-cooled computers or those added aftermarket from Spartan Liquid Cooling and other resellers. Some liquid coolers purchased online or from your local computer store come with all the hardline tubing necessary to hook up all of the components, but if you choose not to use this method, it is useful to know what sizes are compatible with other liquid cooling parts. 4. GPU water block. There are many liquid-cooled computer parts, but the GPU water block may be the most important part of liquid cooling. The liquid loop that goes over around your graphics card is one of 2 liquid-cooled loops that will have the biggest impact on decreasing temperatures and increasing performance. Without a GPU water block in liquid-cooled builds, there is less liquid to suck up any extra heat from your processor or other components. Most liquid coolers come with their own GPU blocks, but it's good to know what you should avoid getting, since not all brands make quality products, and others like EC Water Blocks make high-performing ones that can really speed up your PC. Buying a cheap thermal paste can prevent unnecessary future costs when it comes time for maintenance. GPU water blocks are critical in increasing computer speed because there is liquid directly between your graphics card and the liquid cooling block on the processor. Having liquid there gives you a direct heat path from your graphics card to your liquid cooler, and all that liquid can't help but be good for cooling, right? Well, kind of. In fact, it's great for cooling if you're using a high-performance thermal paste like EKWB Ectotherm Thermally Conductive Epoxy Paste, TW3, or Pro Amitech PK7 industrial-grade ceramic-based thermal grease. But unfortunately, most liquid coolers come with some weird blue goo which has almost zero thermal conductive qualities when being used as the primary means of transferring heat from a GPU, or CPU, core to the liquid cooling loop it is often needed to be. Liquid coolers are all the rage these days, and for good reason. They are much better at cooling than air coolers. Liquid has a vastly lower thermal conductivity than air, but is also much more dense, and so it's able to absorb a lot of heat very effectively without rising in temperature as much as air would. This means that liquid can keep your CPU or GPU cooler while still maintaining low temperatures inside the liquid loop itself. Unfortunately, liquid cooling tends to use a lot of tubing, fittings, tubing clamps, and reservoirs/tanks that must be purchased separately from your liquid cooler unit, and none of these things come cheap. But luckily, we here at Spartan Liquid Cooling just happen to stock thousands of EC products right here in the United States. 5. Radiator. Radiator size varies widely depending on how much liquid cooling surface area you want in the liquid's high flow tolerance. If I bought a liquid cooling kit for my CPU, I would buy either the EC Stream Z480 quad radiator or the EC Stream P360 radiator, because both of these radiators will provide me with ample liquid cooling surface area, 678 square inches for the XSPCR X360, 648 square inches for the EC Stream P, but also be slightly smaller than most liquid coolers out there that are at least 30 mm thick. The processing speed of your computer can be affected greatly by the radiator. For example, liquid cooling is very good at dissipating heat, but if the liquid cooling radiator is too small, then it may not be able to cool down your computer as fast as possible. By choosing a liquid cooling fan with high airflow output and high static pressure rating, you can make sure that your liquid cooler will run perfectly with ease and sustain its performance over time. It is definitely true what they say about liquid coolers: the thicker the radiator is, the better it retains heat compared to thin radiators. However, I think liquid coolers are still fairly cheap, so if you have extra cash left over from your next paycheck or tax return filing, then I would advise getting a liquid cooler instead of just using air cooling for your PC and gaming needs. Increasing computer speed starts and stops with liquid cooling. In conclusion, if you want to make your computer run faster and your gaming more enjoyable, liquid cooling is the best way to do it. With liquid coolers, you can make sure that your PC will run faster for a longer time. Don't forget to read my other post, "What size and shape radiator should I get for my PC?" I think this article has already given you enough information about liquid cooling and how good they can be if you have one in your gaming computer or laptop. Good luck if you're getting one soon. Be sure to check back often for more liquid cooling related topics. For more information, contact Eric at SpartanLiquidCooling.com.